Hey guys, welcome back. If you are new here and this is your very first time, big welcome to you. My name is Bettina Ray. So in today's video, I want to talk to you about 5 things that every mum needs to do on maternity leave before the baby arrives. Now there are lots of videos and articles out there that will tell you to pack the hospital bag and prepare the baby clothes and make sure everything's set up. And while these things are great and essential and things that you need to do, the 5 things that I want to focus on are more about you and making sure that you're looking after yourself really well and are preparing yourself for that period after you've had a baby. You've been through this huge experience and you've got a brand new little baby in your arms who needs you for everything. And I think it's really important to do the things now so that you're really prepared for that time afterwards. So first time round, I was maybe a little bit like you and I was just fixated on all the cute little baby clothes and all the little nappies and just wanting my little baby in my arms and dreaming and imagining that. I didn't really take the time to plan and prepare for that time once the baby was there and how I was going to look after myself. And because of that, I did a pretty crappy job of looking after myself in that first year with the first baby. So second time around, I was a lot smarter. This time, that's where all my focus is going. Like I've set the cot up and I've got the clothes out and washed them. But other than that, I just know, you know what? I am everything to this baby. All he really needs is me. What I need to do is make sure that I'm going to be in a good place so that I can respond to his needs, which is why I think these 5 things are really important. My number one thing that I think you should do on maternity leave before the baby arrives is go on a date with your husband or your partner. Because once that baby arrives, it's all going to be about the baby and you aren't going to have time to just the drop of a hat, go and have breakfast together or go out for dinner. It all becomes a lot harder, a lot more stressful, a little bit less enjoyable. So if you can, take the time now to go on a date at least. If you can do many dates, that's even better. Invest the time in your relationship, get that connection nice and strong. So going into that first 6 weeks, even that first 6 months or first year, you're feeling really good in your relationship. Obviously, it's still something you want to focus on in the first year and not forget completely about it. But if you can get a date in before baby arrives, you're definitely going to be starting on the right foot. My second tip is to sort out any necessary paperwork that you're probably going to have to fill in the next 6 months now. There is nothing worse than being home from hospital with a new baby in your arms. You're not feeling great in your body, you're bleeding, you're tired, your brain is foggy, and you've got to fill in what feels like an 1,000-page document. So obviously some things you have to wait until the baby is born for. So applying for things like paid parental leave. Here in Australia, if you're applying through Centrelink, you can't actually do the finalization until baby arrives because they need a due date and that sort of thing. But you can kind of get the prep work done, most of it filled out, so you only have to fill in those last little bits. Things like taxes, if you can get all the stuff together and organized. Again, here in Australia, you have to file after June 30, but if you can have it all together so it's less stress at the time, it's going to make your life so much easier. So there are other things you might want to think about, things like birth registries, childcare enrollment for other children. So trying to get these things sorted before baby arrives is going to help you so much because you really won't have the brain space to fill out all these technical things once bub is here. You just want to kind of be in that newborn bubble and not having to think too hard. My third thing that I think you should do before baby arrives is take a whole day off just for you to do something that you enjoy. So it can be tempting to spend this time before bub arrives getting everything organized and feeling like you have to scrub your house within an inch of its life. But I really recommend taking a day at least, again, if you can do multiple days, it's even better, to do things that you really enjoy. And for me personally, I like to do things that I can't do with a bub in tow. So whilst watching Netflix all day is amazing and great and probably something you want to do at the later stages of pregnancy, you will probably be watching a fair bit of Netflix once bub arrives whilst you're feeding. So things like taking yourself out on a lunch date, maybe going shopping. Maybe for you it's going to the movies or having your hair and nails done. Maybe it's going to the beach. Maybe it's just reading a book in the sun. Taking a whole day just to do something for you without feeling guilty, without feeling like you should be doing something else. Taking a day for yourself is a really quality way of spending your time before this baby arrives, and a really good way of filling yourself up so you go into that first few weeks and months with a new baby feeling really good, feeling like you've had time for yourself and that you're really ready for them to be here. As most of us find, once that bub arrives, you don't have time to do anything for yourself, and things like showering become personal time. So if you can take the time now to really enjoy a day to yourself, I really think that's a good way to spend your maternity leave before baby arrives. So my fourth tip is to try and get food organized for the first 6 weeks after having a baby. Now, everyone's heard of filling the freezer before the baby arrives, which is great. You don't have to do it all alone though. You could host a party, invite your friends around, everyone cooks for you. A beautiful friend of mine is throwing me exactly that, which is so amazing. Another way that you could do it is, instead of asking for gifts at your baby shower, you ask them to bring a frozen meal that you can put in your freezer. So just having a group of 10 or so girlfriends coming together will give you a good start at those first 6 weeks of having pre-prepared meals. You could have a set order through your local grocery store that's going to come every week for the first 6 weeks. So just the same order repeated, order those things that you always get anyway. At least you know there will be something. It doesn't matter if you're eating really plain meals. Make sure that you've included lots of fruit and veggies so that you're still getting lots of fresh stuff and lots of nutrients, but it doesn't matter if it's the same thing over and over. No one is expecting gourmet meals in those first few weeks after you've had a baby. It's also a really good idea to stock up on some pre-prepared snacks and things like that. Things like muesli bars, fruit and nuts, rice crackers, all those sorts of things that you can just have in the pantry, because breastfeeding makes you so hungry, and having those things, healthy snacks that you can just grab easily, is going to be a great help in those first few weeks. And my fifth and final tip for what you should do before bub arrives is to buy some in-between clothes. I wasn't silly enough to take clothes that fit me before I fell pregnant, but I hadn't really accounted for the fact that I was going to have this quite deflated belly, and the clothes that I picked didn't really make me feel very good. So I think it's really important to buy yourself something that you're going to feel good in between when you leave the hospital and you maybe don't want to wear maternity clothes anymore, and when you possibly can start getting back into some regular clothes. So things with elastic waists are really good. If you feel really good in dresses and that's what makes you feel really good, you could definitely go for a dress as well. Just make sure it's quite free-flowing and that you've got access up the top if you are going to breastfeed. I think it's really important to invest in just a couple of pieces for yourself so that you don't spend those first few weeks just feeling blah. By all means, if you feel great in your PJs, just buy yourself a few nice pair of PJs and hang about in them. But I know for me, the actual act of having a shower and getting dressed makes me feel like I've achieved something today. For me, a few outfits that are going to work in those first few weeks when I still don't fit back in my clothes help to make me feel so much more normal and so much better about myself that I really think it's worth investing in. So now I would love to hear from you. What are some of the things that you think are top priority to do in that maternity leave before baby arrives? I'd love to hear from your suggestions. Pop them in the comments below. Otherwise, if you're watching this video because you have a baby due very soon, good luck. Let me know when he or she arrives. Make sure that you've subscribed to this channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.